Are you feeling those aches and pains a little more each morning? Does getting out of bed sometimes feel like you're wading through molasses? What if I told you that the solution might be sitting right in your kitchen, or just a short trip to the grocery store away? Today, I'm sharing something that could change the way you feel every single day. The top 7 anti-inflammatory foods that could help ease your joint pain, boost your energy, and maybe even help you feel years younger. Stay with me until the end, because I'll be sharing my favorite 10-minute recipe that combines 3 of these powerful foods for maximum benefit with minimum effort. Before we dive into our list, let's talk about what inflammation actually is and why it matters so much, especially as we age. Inflammation isn't always the villain. It's actually your body's natural defense system kicking into action. When you cut your finger or catch a cold, inflammation rushes in like a team of firefighters, helping heal wounds and fight off invaders. But here's the tricky part. As we get older, this helpful process can sometimes go haywire. Instead of turning off when the job is done, inflammation can simmer on low heat throughout our bodies, day after day, year after year. This chronic inflammation is like having those firefighters spray water on your house even when there's no fire, causing damage instead of helping. This silent inflammation has been linked to joint pain, fatigue, heart disease, memory problems, and even depression, many of the very things we chalk up to just getting older. But what if it wasn't just about birthdays? What if the foods on your plate could either fuel this fire or help extinguish it? I learned this firsthand when I met Eleanor, a vibrant 78-year-old who lived down the street from me. For years, she struggled with stiff, aching hands that made her beloved gardening nearly impossible. "It's just arthritis," her doctor told her, prescribing medication that upset her stomach. One day, while sharing tea in her kitchen, she mentioned that she'd been reading about anti-inflammatory foods and had been quietly experimenting for the past 3 months. "I don't want to jinx it," she whispered, almost like she was sharing a secret, "but I can deadhead my roses again without crying." Her hands weren't perfect, but for the first time in years, she could do what she loved without paying for it later with pain. Eleanor's story isn't unique. I've heard variations from so many seniors who discovered that what they put on their fork could either fan the flames of inflammation or help cool them. Let's explore the 7 most powerful inflammation-fighting foods that could help you reclaim the activities you love. First up on our list is fatty fish. Think salmon, sardines, mackerel, and trout. These swimming superstars are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, which are like nature's fire extinguishers for inflammation. These special fats work their magic by helping produce compounds that literally tell your body to calm down the inflammatory response. For seniors, this can translate to less joint pain, improved heart health, and even better brain function. Some research even suggests that regular consumption of these omega-3s might help protect against Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline. I remember chatting with Robert, a 72-year-old former construction worker whose hands had grown so stiff he struggled to open his medicine bottles. His daughter, a nutritionist, suggested he try having salmon twice a week. "I thought it was nonsense," he told me with a chuckle, but I was desperate enough to try anything. 6 weeks later, he noticed he could button his shirts more easily in the morning. Nothing dramatic, just a gentle easing of the stiffness that had become his constant companion. Now, I know what you're thinking. Fish can be expensive and sometimes tricky to prepare. Here's my simple solution. Canned salmon or sardines are budget-friendly options that require 0 cooking skills. Try mixing canned salmon with a little olive oil, another anti-inflammatory star we'll talk about soon, and lemon juice, then spread it on whole grain crackers for a quick, inflammation-fighting lunch. Aim for 2 servings of fatty fish per week. If you really can't stand fish, talk to your doctor about a high-quality fish oil supplement, though the whole food always provides benefits that supplements alone cannot match. Next on our list are berries, those jewel-toned fruits that brighten up any breakfast. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, they're all tiny packages of anti-inflammatory power thanks to compounds called anthocyanins, which give them their vivid colors. These anthocyanins are antioxidants that help your body fight oxidative stress, which is closely linked to inflammation. For seniors, this means potential protection against heart disease, certain cancers, and even the cognitive decline that often comes with aging. What makes berries especially wonderful is how easily they fit into meals you're already eating. Sprinkle them on your morning oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie, or simply enjoy a handful as a sweet afternoon pick-me-up. Frozen berries are just as nutritious as fresh ones and are available year-round, often at a lower cost. My friend Doris, at 83, swears by her daily berry medicine, as she calls her morning yogurt topped with a generous handful of blueberries. I used to wake up feeling like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz, she told me once, all rusted up and creaky. Since I started having my berries every day, I still get stiff, but it's not nearly as bad. And I think more clearly too. Research backs up Doris's experience. One study found that women who ate more than a cup of strawberries or blueberries each week delayed cognitive aging by up to 2.5 years compared to those who rarely ate berries. That's pretty remarkable for such a delicious medicine, isn't it? If there's one food group that deserves a gold medal for fighting inflammation, it's leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, these nutrient powerhouses are packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that help combat inflammation throughout the body. One of their secret weapons is vitamin K, which helps regulate inflammatory responses. They're also rich in lutein, which has been linked to lower levels of inflammation and protection against age-related macular degeneration, a major cause of vision loss in seniors. I know what some of you are thinking: I don't like the taste of kale, or greens are too difficult to digest. These are common concerns, but there are easy workarounds. Try baby spinach instead of the more robust kale. It's milder in flavor and more tender. And if raw greens upset your stomach, try them lightly steamed or sautéed, which can make them easier to digest while preserving most of their nutritional benefits. Here's a tip from my own kitchen: add a handful of baby spinach to your morning smoothie. The sweet fruit will mask the taste completely, but you'll still get all those anti-inflammatory benefits. Or try this trick from my 88-year-old uncle who hates rabbit food but knows he needs his greens. He finely chops spinach and stirs it into his soup during the last minute of cooking. Can't taste it, but my doctor says my inflammation markers have dropped, he reported at our last family gathering. Aim for at least one serving of leafy greens daily, a cup raw or half a cup cooked. Your joints, heart, eyes, and brain will thank you. The Mediterranean diet has long been associated with lower rates of heart disease, Alzheimer's, and other inflammation-related conditions. At the heart of this diet? Olive oil, particularly extra virgin olive oil. What makes this golden liquid so special is its content of oleocanthal, a compound that has been shown to work similarly to ibuprofen in reducing inflammation. It's also rich in polyphenol and monounsaturated fats that help combat oxidative stress and inflammation. For seniors, regularly consuming olive oil may translate to lower risk of heart disease, better brain health, and even protection against some types of cancer. Some research suggests it may also help maintain bone density, especially important as we age and face increased risk of osteoporosis. My neighbor Grace, a spirited 75-year-old with Italian roots, credits her daily tablespoon of olive oil with keeping her joints flexible enough for her beloved ballroom dancing. My mother did it, my grandmother did it, and now I do it. A spoonful of olive oil first thing in the morning, she told me while demonstrating a surprisingly limber cha-cha step in her kitchen. While I'm not suggesting you need to take it straight like Grace, incorporating olive oil into your daily cooking is a simple way to fight inflammation. Use it to sauté vegetables, drizzle it over finished dishes, or mix it with a little vinegar for a simple, healthy salad dressing. Just remember that heat can degrade some of olive oil's beneficial compounds, so for maximum anti-inflammatory benefits, try to include some in its unheated form. Walnuts, almonds, flax seeds, chia seeds, these crunchy morsels are powerhouses of anti-inflammatory nutrients, particularly plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Walnuts deserve special mention for seniors. They're shaped like tiny brains, and fittingly, they're especially good for brain health. They contain a specific type of omega-3 called alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, which has been linked to reduced inflammation and lower risk of heart disease. I'm reminded of Harold, a 79-year-old retired professor who was concerned about his family history of dementia. After reading about the brain benefits of walnuts, he started adding a small handful to his breakfast each morning. "It's too soon to know if it's helping my brain," he told me with his characteristic academic caution, "but I can tell you this, the arthritis in my fingers doesn't flare up nearly as often." If plain nuts seem too boring, try toasting them lightly to enhance their flavor, or make a simple trail mix with a few dark chocolate chips and dried cranberries, themselves anti-inflammatory, for a satisfying snack. Nut butters count too. A tablespoon of almond butter spread on apple slices makes a perfect anti-inflammatory snack. A word of caution, nuts are calorie-dense, so stick to a small portion, about an ounce or roughly a small handful, daily. And if chewing nuts is difficult, nut butters or finely chopped nuts added to smoothies, oatmeal, or yogurt provide the same benefits. If there were a crown jewel of anti-inflammatory foods, turmeric might just wear that crown. This brilliant yellow spice contains curcumin, a compound with such powerful anti-inflammatory properties that it's been compared to some anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the side effects. For seniors, turmeric's benefits are particularly relevant. It's been studied for its potential to help with arthritis pain, improve heart health, reduce depression symptoms, and even potentially delay some aspects of Alzheimer's disease. Margaret, an 81-year-old with rheumatoid arthritis, shared her experience after 6 months of adding turmeric to her daily routine. "My doctor is amazed. I've been able to reduce my medication, and best of all, I can knit again." She stirs a 1/4 teaspoon into her morning tea, barely noticing the taste but reaping the benefits. The trick with turmeric is that curcumin isn't easily absorbed by the body on its own. To get the maximum benefit, always combine it with black pepper, which contains piperine, enhancing absorption by up to 2000%, and consume it with some fat, since curcumin is fat-soluble. My favorite way to incorporate turmeric is in a warming golden milk. Warm a cup of milk, dairy or plant-based, add a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and a teaspoon of honey if desired. It's a soothing evening ritual that may help reduce inflammation while you sleep, when much of your body's repair work happens anyway. Last but certainly not least on our list are tart cherries and their juice. While sweet cherries are delicious, it's their tartar cousins that pack the more powerful anti-inflammatory punch, thanks to compounds called anthocyanins and cyanidin. Research has shown that tart cherry juice can reduce inflammation markers in the blood and may be especially helpful for managing gout and exercise-induced muscle pain. For seniors who experience joint pain or muscle soreness after activity, tart cherries might offer some natural relief. I first learned about tart cherries from James, a 77-year-old who refused to give up his daily 2-mile walk despite developing gout. "My doctor told me about the cherry studies," he explained. "I started drinking a small glass of tart cherry juice every morning, and while it hasn't cured my gout completely, my flare-ups are much less frequent and severe." Tart cherries can be enjoyed fresh when in season, but they're more commonly available as frozen, dried, or juice. An 8-ounce glass of tart cherry juice or a 1/4 cup of dried tart cherries daily is a good target. If the tartness is too much for your taste buds, try mixing the juice with a bit of apple juice or adding dried cherries to a trail mix with a few dark chocolate chips. As promised, here's my favorite quick recipe that combines 3 of these anti-inflammatory powerhouses into one delicious meal. I call it my anti-inflammatory power bowl, and it takes just 10 minutes to prepare. Start with a base of baby spinach, about 2 cups. Add 1/2 cup of blueberries and a small handful of chopped walnuts. Drizzle with a simple dressing made from a tablespoon of olive oil, a teaspoon of lemon juice, and if you're feeling adventurous, a pinch of turmeric and black pepper. Toss gently and you've got a meal that's fighting inflammation with every bite. For protein, you could add a small can of wild salmon or a hard-boiled egg. And if you want to make it more substantial, a 1/4 cup of cooked quinoa adds texture and additional nutrients without sabotaging the anti-inflammatory benefits. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize something important. Fighting inflammation doesn't require a complete diet overhaul or expensive supplements. Start small, perhaps choose just one food from this list and find a way to include it in your meals this week. Maybe it's switching your cooking oil to olive oil, or adding a handful of berries to your breakfast, or enjoying fatty fish once a week. Remember Eleanor and her gardening? She didn't transform her diet overnight. She started with one change, a daily handful of walnuts, and gradually incorporated more anti-inflammatory foods as she began noticing improvements. Our bodies have an amazing capacity to respond to the care we give them even after decades of different habits. It's never too late to make positive changes. As my wise grandmother used to say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. I'd love to hear which of these foods you're already enjoying or which one you plan to try first. Is it the vibrant berries, the golden turmeric, or perhaps the omega-rich walnuts? Your experience might just inspire someone else to take that first step toward less inflammation and more comfortable, energetic days. Remember, this journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Even small changes can yield significant benefits when it comes to fighting inflammation. Your body has supported you faithfully for all these years. Nourishing it with these inflammation-fighting foods is a beautiful way to say thank you and help ensure that the years ahead are as comfortable and vibrant as possible.